Welcome to my office. This is where I've been editing videos that you guys have been watching and hopefully enjoying. And this is at my girlfriend's house. She's been nice enough to, make me this little space for me to kind of fill with some of my things and give me a little spot to work. In just a day or 2 days from now, I am starting the 800-mile Arizona Trail, walking from Mexico, the border, all the way through the state of Arizona, 800 miles to Utah. And this is going to be my first thru hike I've done in about a year because of COVID and restrictions and all those other things. So, I'm really excited to get back out on trail, and I thought, hey, it's been a very long time since I've done one of these. Let's do a Q&A. I asked you guys on YouTube, on my little community page, to send me some questions, whether it's about myself, my gear, the Arizona Trail coming up, or really anything at all, and I'll do my best to answer these. So let's get into this. Christopher asks, I've always admired your discipline and overall attitude to your hiking and lifestyle. I know you've worked hard to maintain the perspective of, I'll only take the things I really need and use. Over the years, what has been some of the harder luxury items you have decided you no longer need, and do you ever miss them in the tougher moments of a thru hike? So what are luxury items I've gotten rid of that maybe were harder to get rid of? And honestly, if I don't carry it, I truly don't want it or feel like I need it. So there hasn't really ever been luxury items where I felt like, oh man, I really want to carry that thing, but for the sake of ultralight, I'm not gonna leave it at home. I truly am happy, extremely happy with sleeping under a tarp and sleeping on an 1/8-inch foam mat and, using a flashlight instead of a headlamp or whatever else I've done. I've recently posted a gear list video for this trail coming up, so you can watch that. On the Appalachian Trail, I carry nearly 5 pounds worth of gear. On pretty much every thru hike I've ever done, I've carried roughly a 6 pound baseweight. So, I don't just do that for the sake of being ultralight. I really do enjoy that, and there really isn't anything that I'm leaving behind where I feel like I wish I had that thing. So, thanks for the question. That is a very good one. I'm sure in the past there were things where, it was harder to conceptualize how could I not use this, and I'm sure for a lot of people starting out backpacking, or it's hard to understand how is he or how am I getting away with a tarp when you feel like you need a tent or something. But with any piece of gear ever, the more you get out and the more you backpack, the more you can maybe learn, and the more reasons you can find where, oh, maybe I don't need that thing if I have this skill, or if I camp in this way, or if I hike in this style. So I think I've just kind of formulated my hiking style around, not having certain things, whether that's safety items or fun things. The next question, asked by FOMO, are you just excited to get back on a long trail? What are you looking forward to the most? I think in a lot of ways thru hiking has changed my life. Prior to thru hiking, I was not in the greatest place. I was doing drugs, I was drinking, and without thru hiking, I probably would have gotten myself into some trouble, and ultimately I can't thank thru hiking enough. It is the place that makes me feel the most alive, the most anything, the most sad, the most happy. Just the lows and the highs are so extreme, and that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most, having to push myself through hard times and learn new things about myself. So really just getting out there and being by myself and having to forge my way down this trail is what I'm excited for. Andrew asks, what temperature extremes are you expecting to encounter? Daytime highs and overnight lows. Good luck. At this moment, I don't I can't give you an exact answer. I know when I was planning out my gear list, more rapidly, I was looking a lot into weather extremes, but as we all know, these trails aren't just extremes. And something I often try and do is I will maybe consider the worst, but also consider that the worst is only going to be for a night or 2 nights. And if that's just 1 or 2 nights out of a month, then, I have to keep that in mind, that I don't need to pack and plan for 30 days of 20-degree temperatures. I need to just pack and plan for maybe a couple nights of 20-degree temperatures, and the rest being a lot more mild. Yoon Swanson asks, the difference of food on trail and your home life. How to make sure the tummy is happy on trail. As a new hiker, I've been suffering from stomach pain. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that you've been suffering. That is unfortunate. Finding foods you like on trail is a very difficult thing, and I think that's why a lot of people, you'll see, I got a lot of comments saying like, I don't eat very healthy on trail, and maybe compared to just eating raw vegetables all day, every day, yeah, absolutely. But compared to a lot of thru hikers just eating honey buns and Sour Patch Kids and Swedish fish, and that being their diet with a mountain house for dinner for months and months on the Appalachian Trail or something, like, I think I do pretty well. But my number one rule for trail food is bring food you're going to like. Bring food that you're going to be able to eat, because when you're out in these extreme temperatures, you're not always going to have an appetite to be eating food and consuming thousands of calories in a day while hiking. So bring food you really like. And, if you've been suffering from stomach problems and stomach pain, then I would take a lot of short trips, maybe just day hikes or overnight hikes, and I would try out a lot of different stuff and see what works for you, because everybody is different. Oliver asks, always wonder about the water situation on the Arizona Trail. What's the longest stretch of trail you suspect to go without water? On average, how long do you suspect to go between refills? Good luck. I couldn't find a straight answer with long water carries. Even though my girlfriend did this trail in 2019, I don't even think she had a specific answer for long water carries. And though I'm prepared to go possibly 30 miles without refilling, I don't think I'll ever have to do that on this trail. So I'm thinking that the longest water carry that I'm going to have to endure could be just 20 miles or something like that. I'm using GutHook, the mapping application on my phone, so I'll be paying close attention to comments up ahead about certain water sources and how far away, is a reliable source. So I don't think it's going to be that bad, to be honest, because of all the trail angels and because we've actually been getting a lot of snow recently. So certainly other years could be worse, but I think this year is going to be okay. Cotton Tails from the Trail asks, what are you expecting to be your toughest challenge during the hike? What is your plan to overcome that challenge? Happy hiking. Cannot wait to see some of the Arizona Trail. My toughest challenge during this hike. I mean, at this point, I'm just going through I start in a day or two, so I'm just going through the typical nerves of what if something happens with my feet, or what if I'm just not feeling very strong, or, what if I run out of water, or, all these other little what ifs and stuff like that. And hopefully I've prepared well enough, both with my gear, my planning, and physically, where, these won't be as bad of challenges as I think. But I think the toughest challenge is honestly going to be slowing myself down. Because honestly, I just really love waking up early. I love hiking all day long, and I love hiking into the night. Which, if you're doing something like that, you're just naturally going to result with 26, 30 miles or more. So I think early on, I'm really going to have to try and tell myself to slow down a bit and listen to my body and pay attention to how I'm feeling and how my feet are feeling. So I think that will be the toughest challenge for me. Certainly something I struggled with on the Pacific Crest Trail, and I've been trying to learn from since. Tammy asks, are you going to be bringing your ultralight water kit with you? I thought that was an awesome idea and would love to see some Arizona Trail paintings. On thru hikes, I generally don't bring my watercolor kit. I think I have it right here. I generally don't bring my watercolor kit simply because I wind up just spending my whole day hiking. Hiking, and I don't often make the time for it during a thru hike. Now, a day hike or an overnight trip, that could be a different story. But generally during a thru hike, what I like to do is I like to take a lot of photos, and when I take those photos, I'm trying to consider what would be a good painting, so when I come back to my office or come back to my van, I can paint scenes and pictures and experiences I've had on these trails. So I'm not bringing the watercolor kit on this one, but I will absolutely be painting some pictures from the Arizona Trail once I'm done. Michelle asks, I'd love to know your video capture, edit, post routine. As an example, do you shoot, upload to the cloud when you can so a friend can edit and post? Do you edit on your phone and post from the trail when you have service? P.S. Just did the Ocean to Lake Trail 2 weeks ago. Thought of you often. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the Ocean to Lake Trail. For those who don't know, the Ocean to Lake Trail is in my hometown, and it's a 63-mile trail that I've hiked 20 times from end to end. You do the math on that one, 60 times 20. So Michelle wants to know how I create these videos, essentially, and it seems specifically trail videos. I film it all in the moment, and then when I'm done with the trail, I edit it then. I don't have an editor. I do everything myself. Everything that is on my website, the guides, the shirts, the designs, the videos that you see, the descriptions that you read, everything is done by me. I put a lot of work into that stuff. So, when I'm out hiking, I film my hike and I try and focus on the filming and how I can get that to be the best it can be. And then when I'm done with my hike, I come home or I go back to my van or I come here or anywhere and I edit it on my laptop right back here. Aaron wants to know, when are you going to do a video about yo-yoing? Did you learn anything from your trip with Darwin recently? Favorite section of the Florida Trail for a week-long section hike? Oh, so this is a few questions here about yo-yoing. Well, I got a couple yo-yos here. This is just your typical up and down yo-yo. Those are the yo-yos that I would bring out on trail. And this one here, this one is more of a butterfly. This one's made for more tricks and advanced tricks and stuff. At least that's what I would say. But, so this one will sleep and you can do all sorts of little stuff with it. I would very much so like to create a yo-yo video that's kind of cinematic, kind of just showing off some of the tricks that I've made over the years, some of the combos that are unique to me or combos that I've invented with the yo-yo. So, that type of stuff is hopefully coming up soon. I just gotta find someone that would want to film something like that, and help me make it more cinematic and help me make it more interesting, or film it in a way where I can add a story to it. Did you learn anything from your trip with Darwin recently? Yeah, that it's nice hanging out with others. It's nice hanging out with Darwin. It was cool camping in the snow, and doing sort of a winter style hike, a winter style overnight trip. I really enjoyed that, and I think I learned a lot just in regards to what I need. I think the biggest takeaway for me was just that for camping in the snow and sleeping in the snow, I really, really want some synthetic booties, some synthetic booties from Enlightened Equipment. I think just to keep my feet warm. Reskimo asks, how many gigabytes of podcasts, audiobooks, and musics did you download for this hike? I am still downloading them, and I do not have enough. So I probably have 3 to 4 audiobooks, and I probably have 50 podcasts queued up. Kevin asks, what pace do you plan on moving at, or does it change with the terrain? Also, how many hours a day do you typically spend moving? I don't walk that fast. It is the hours in the day. I feel like if I'm really looking at a big day, than waking up at 4 in the morning and hiking all day with 0 breaks. I'd say more typically I probably wake up at like 6 to 7, moving by 7, and then I like to night hike for an hour depending on when the sun is setting. So I think right now the sun is rising at 6, so I'll probably wake up at 6, and the sun is setting at 7, so I'll probably hike until 8 or 9 even. Have you ever thought of hiking the hadoop trail? I've absolutely thought of hiking the hadoop trail, and I've been thinking about hiking it this year potentially, though I think I haven't maybe found something cooler, but I've definitely found something similar that I would probably enjoy more. So I'm looking at the fall to do something like that. James wants to know, how do you get any sleep with such a minimal sleep system and not feel stiff and locked up in the morning? And I guess a follow-up, how much sleep do you actually get per night in trail? I think I sleep a lot. If I finish my hiking day at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening and I stay up maybe an hour, I probably sleep from like 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock or something, or 6 o'clock. So I'm definitely getting a full 8 hours out there, and sometimes more. Sometimes your body just needs that type of recovery, and you gotta let it have it. Let's see, you asked another question. How am I sleeping at all with such a minimal sleep system? I think campsite selection is a big deal. Looking for places that are more comfortable to sleep, finding places that are warmer to sleep, finding places that aren't as windy, places that I'm not sleeping on the tops of mountains, I'm not sleeping in valleys where cool air is going to collect, and I'm looking for places where I can lay down my mat and it's going to be more comfortable than just a bed of rocks. So that's one way, but also I think it's just years of doing it. I think just doing it over and over and over and being out there and using that same sleeping mat, I've just gotten more than used to it and more than comfortable with it. But also, on top of that, everyone's taste is different. So some people just prefer more firm sleep systems. I think if that's not for you, then that's cool. Bring an air mattress or bring a thicker foam pad or something. You're not really like adding that much weight by carrying more of a sleep system than I do. It works for some people and other people would hate it. Zach asks, besides hiking, what is your favorite outdoor activity and why? Absolutely, all day, every day. At least this past year and this year so far is disc golf. As much as I love riding my bike, as much as I love just getting outside and doing other things, disc golf has just been incredibly fun. It's kind of like taking a 3-mile hike in the woods, sometimes with friends, sometimes alone. But every like 20 minutes or every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you get to throw this frisbee through the trees and try and weave it in and out of all these tight little gaps, or throw it over trees and have it come down and spike near the pin. And disc golf has just been incredibly fun, especially during the pandemic when, I can't really go to the movies, or I can't go bowling, or I can't do all these other things. I can go outside and I can throw some frisbees. Kyle asks, what helped you decide to start the Arizona Trail in April other than an earlier or later month? That is a great question, because I do this for a lot of trails and a lot of hikes. I don't necessarily start them when other people may start them. The Appalachian Trail hiking southbound, I started in August instead of the more typical, I guess, June and July. Not a lot of people are starting a southbound hike in August of the Appalachian Trail. I'm trying to think of other good examples. But, say the Florida Trail. I go southbound on that trail too, and I do that for very specific reasons. And the Arizona Trail, starting in April this year instead of an earlier month. I am starting later because, for one, I can save more money. So if I'm starting in April instead of March, I have an extra month to save money for that trail. That's a pretty simple reason. That was one reason why I started the Appalachian Trail later, was I had extra months to save money. I am also starting later, and this is probably more applicable to most people, because it's going to be warmer. You know, I am starting this trail in April instead of March or even February. My girlfriend Lotus started the AZT in February. And that would be a cold hike, and I would have to carry a lot more insulating layers. So a lot of times I start a little bit later and I hike a little bit faster so that I can carry less. You know, I did the same thing on the Pacific Crest Trail. I started May 10th, and sure, it was hot in the very beginning, but, you know, as I was progressing north, you know, I was very happy with my decision because the temperatures were starting to get milder, and, you know, I wasn't running into as much snow. Like on the Pacific Crest Trail, getting to the Sierra early, you're going to be dealing with a lot of snow. You may even be dealing with snow in the Baden-Powell area or the Mount San Jacinto area, you know, on the Pacific Crest Trail if you start earlier. You know, and of course colder temperatures, so, you know, you're going to have to carry a lot more gear to be happy and comfortable and safe. I'm doing the same thing on the Arizona Trail. You know, I'm starting later so that I don't have to be hiking through snow. I'm starting later so I don't have to carry as many insulating layers to keep me cool or to keep me warm in cold weather or snowy areas. I'm starting later in a lot of ways because I like hiking solo, you know, so I don't necessarily always want to start when the bubble is starting. So I think those are some good reasons right there. But yeah, that will be my final question for today. I'm actually toying with the idea of just doing an extra video every week where I just answer one question. You know, I have you guys ask me a bunch of questions, and I just go through and I pick out one where I have the best possible answer for and that I think would be very beneficial to others. If you have questions for future Q&As, or if you would like your question to be featured in one of those like single question and answer videos coming up, then leave them below in this video. So anyway, I'm leaving for my hike in about a day or two, and I'll catch you guys out on the trail. So anyway, thank you guys for watching.